You thought I was done making wargaming armies? No, this is just the beginning. I am making a tabletop wargaming army to rule them all. One army that can play every 32mm tabletop game. Is this an absolutely ridiculous premise? Yes. Am I so stupidly confident in myself that I feel the need to make this challenge even harder? Absolutely. I want every single miniature that I use for this army to come from an indie company. Someone that deserves the attention that these weird videos get. So what about the Nurgle Diaries stuff? That doesn't exactly meet the criteria of indie company. Most of this is Games Workshop, WizKids. I have an idea that I really don't know if it's gonna work. But first, we've got to put this back together. Over the last few days, I've been resurrecting my Nurgle Diaries army as a jumping off point for this new project. My Nurgle Diaries army was exclusively a Warhammer army. I love the world of Warhammer, I love the aesthetics, I love the nostalgia, I love the game design heroes that made it what it is. But my love for modeling and crafting weird rubbish, I think in a way has sort of outgrown the game itself. And as a compulsive tinkerer, I got a bit drastic and I pulled everything apart and reevaluated everything from a distance to really rethink about exactly what I want. And it took some time and some experimentation, but what I realize now is what I love is the social aspect of my hobby. I love crafting a narrative. I love admiring the work of the people I share my games with, and as much as I really didn't think I needed it, I love having excuses to make cool things. Actually, no, look, we can rephrase that in a cooler way. I think what I like is solving problems. So, a project with no end, filled with new people, new stories, new problems, is how I got here. And if any morning cartoon, and trust me, I'm well versed. If they've taught me anything at all, you need an impossible goal to go to unlikely places. Ta-da! My new Nurgle Diaries army, all rebased and reconverted to some degree. This is my favorite new crazy conversion, this bootleg Great Unclean one that I added a face to, I hacked it in half, added some rods, put some milliput on it, added some baby arms, added a Godzilla hat. It is a monstrosity. Now I've got to document everything. Okay, how crazy does this idea sound? I have taken photos of every single one of these Kitbash models. For you, crazy creative people at home, I hope to take inspiration from and create your own miniatures from the concepts of these Kitbash miniatures. And then, to make things really weird, I can then take those models that you make, you sculpt or buy them, you send them to me, I don't know. Then I can kitbash and convert those models myself. I think it's a bit like that game of telephone. I start with a strange concept, you take that concept, you turn them into something new, I take that new thing, reconvert them, re-kitbash them, send them off to the void, someone else or you can turn them into something new, I can take them back, and then in the end, we would end up in theory with like an infinite amount of some sort of weird cohesion between all these miniatures that we can form one big army with that can play any game. Right? Am I mad? Yes, I'm mad. But I think this is cool. I really feel like I'm starting from scratch with this project because I don't actually own very many indie miniatures, but my friends are very talented and I do have a couple that I can show you. This first miniature is the Sorcerer from Conjured Craft Terran in this beautiful homemade packaging. Inside is this very strange alien demon prince-esque creature, which I'm really looking forward to making sort of a hero statement piece in my army. A massive inspiration to me, Wilhelm Miniatures is creating a game called Bone Forest, and these are the miniatures from that world that I have been sent with the expectation of painting. though I desperately just want to cut them up and turn them into even more monstrous monstrosities, as if they weren't already totally disgusting. Last year, I entered a competition called Slug Wizard Spring, and as a prize, I actually won these miniatures from Mammoth Miniatures. And they're very old school looking, very cool, totally my vibe. A friend of mine on Instagram and YouTube, Totally Not Panicking, runs this event called Smash Bash every year. And they sent me some of the official miniatures from that event, which is very, very cool. And I've got to enter one of these years. The sculpts are from Garden of Hecate, which is one of my favorite sculptors and creators ever. Beautiful, weird models. There is no way that this head is not going on this body. Let's make that happen. So my goal for this project is not only to make cool conversions, but to modify these models enough that they start to create their own new visual narrative. I feel real rusty and my confidence in sculpting is pretty small right now, but I'm sort of really leaning into that janky aesthetic and just calling it style. Okay, the first model of this army is a Demon Prince-esque monstrosity. It's sort of like a regular person that's been transformed into whatever this is, and in their hands, as though it's muscle memory, they're grasping onto their old sword and shield, as though it's their only connection back to their true self. And here is a traveling warlock on the back of an unholy steed. This mole head, this were-mole head, is from Duncan Luca, who sculpted my 3D printable walking house model, and finally, this terrified knight. Even has a helmet adorned with a terrified face, but you must ask yourself, how can a human that can wield such a crazy weapon be truly scared? Something is amiss here. I just got back from a painting day with my friends and I painted these, the Bone Forest miniatures I showed you earlier from Wilhelm. I love the color scheme. I just used a cyan spray paint on one side, pink spray paint on the other, hit it with a white dry brush, some appropriately colored contrast paints, and Bob's your uncle. Maybe army color scheme potential? I don't know. If you're an indie miniature company out there, make yourself known, please. Send me an email, write a comment. I have a PO box if you want to send me stuff, whatever. I'll do my best to showcase and give back to the community as much as I can. Also, if you know anything about 3D scanning, can you also hit me up as well too? I'd love to be able to just sculpt things and make it available instantly. This box, with a little help from my friends, contains a collection of something very sentimental to me. Come look. Okay, so ever since I was maybe about 11 or 12, I always wanted to make my own miniatures. And this box contains my very first miniatures for you to be able to buy. This is one of 36 toads. 36 toads, all hand sculpted, hand molded, hand cast by me. Now, there's been a lot of people wanting to buy these toads ever since I sculpted the very first one a very long time ago. And 36 is not nearly enough to go around. So I've done something very special with this release of the toads. In here, this is a license to recast my toads. You can sell them, you can modify them, you can do whatever you want under one condition, that people that buy your recasts are also allowed to recast those toads, in a hope that I can somehow, with these 36 toads handcast by me, will take over the world. That's the hope. The first 15 of these toads are dropping with this video. So we have a very difficult problem that we need to overcome to make an army that can play any tabletop game, and that's bases. Base sizes are so drastically different between games now that I feel like we need to have an interchangeable system. This is my proposal. My first idea is a peg system. Magnets. Magnet on the base, a magnet on the foot. Magnets like being attracted to each other, sometimes the wrong miniatures, sometimes bits of terrain, sometimes your opponent's miniatures. Idea 3. I could put a pin in the bottom of my model's foot, which could slot into a base. This is the puzzle piece method, which is a little base that goes on your miniature that then conforms to a bigger base, and you could have those other bases all different sizes. And this is what I call the sacrificial method, which is where I make a base that's... If you have any ideas, let me know. Honestly, I just knew that as soon as I got this 3D printable version of my Walking House kit bash, that I was immediately going to try to make it bigger. It's a start. We can go bigger. Would you believe it's nearly 4 AM? We have been going for a very long time now, but we're making incredible progress. The Nurgle Diary stuff, all the unfinished things, we're painting that. We're getting it done. We're leaving that army on a good note. We'll make a diorama display-based type thing for all those models. Over here, I have been making some new additions to this mega army. There's Demon Prince, which you are familiar with, the Nurgle Diaries I sculpted, but now it has a new head thanks to Berserker Works Bill he made when he visited. We mold and cast them. This is a Mammoth Miniatures model that I've made like a gigantic mascot head for. And maybe I need some more sleep. This is a miscast toad, as in a miscast toad. It's a failed toad. I'm using it for my army. Whew, all right. If you like what you see, stick around for the next episode, because look, it's gonna get crazy. Okay, bloody love you. All right, sleep time, sleep time.